Okay, fine. Alright, so let us start with day 2 of the training. Alright, today we'll be learning the concepts of object-oriented programming. Alright, oops. Okay, and let me close this one. Alright, so out here, I'll create a new Java project known as day 2. Okay, and in day 2 project, I will be adding all the jar files. Okay, right. I'll just 1 minute. I'm adding the jar files of Selenium. In every project, you have to add the jar files. Okay, right. So now, what is object-oriented programming? Okay, what are objects, how they are used, how they are helpful? All right, let us discuss about that. All right, now if I make a new class over here known as say simple class car. All right, fine. And in the car class, there's a question being asked. Monica, you can refer yesterday's video. Okay, I have told how to actually get the jars and all I have told. Alright. Neeraj, by the end of this class, I'll give you the link. Okay, in yesterday class, I told how to get the jar. Alright. So over here, I'll keep the variables like string name of the car and int price of the car. Okay, fine. And these are the two properties of the car class. Alright, fine. Now, out here, suppose I'll create a new class known as test car. Alright, and car C equals to new car. Right, and in the car class, you have got two variables, name and price. Okay, fine. Out here in test car class, I have written car C equals to new car. This is known as object creation of the car class. Okay, now what do you mean by object creation? I'll tell you. You can create the object of the class like this. You can write new car. Okay, fine. If you write new car, this means that you are creating the object of the car class. Alright, this is known as object creation. Now, what do you mean by this line? What exactly happens in the memory? Alright, I'll explain you. with the help of, hold on, I'll open MS Paint and I'll explain you. What happens is that if you write this, an object is created in the memory. That object has got the properties name and price inside it. Okay, if I write over here, if I create three objects, then in the memory, three objects of the car class will be created, and every object will have the name and price. Okay, alright, every object will have its own name and price. But how do I access these objects? To access these objects, you have to create object references. You just cannot access these objects like this. You will have to write over here car C1 equals to this, car C2 equals to this, and car C3 equals to this. So C1, C2 and C3, they become the references of these objects in Java. Okay, what do you mean by reference? Something like that. C1 will point towards the first object. Okay, C2 will point towards the second object, and C3 will point towards the third object. So C1, C2 and C3, they become the object references. With them, I can change the state of the objects. Alright, fine. I can write over here I can mention out here that, say I can mention there's a chat being, hold on. Okay, if you write C1 dot name, you can put the car name as A. If you write C1 dot price, you can put the price as 100. So by writing C1 dot, you will get the options name and price for C1. So what will happen is that this will become A and this will become 100, price 100. Similarly, you can write C2 dot name as B, C2 dot price as 200, and C3 dot name as C, and C3 dot price as 300. So this is the basics of object oriented programming. Okay, with C1, C2 and C3, alright, you can access the properties of these three objects. You can give them B and 200, and you can write over here C and 300. Okay, right. So every object will have its own set of every object will have its own set of properties, okay, and the values to those properties. Alright, fine. The car class is a single class with just two variables. But by creating different objects of this class, I can assign every object a different value. Okay, right? Now, moving ahead, if I suppose, now how is object different from object reference? Okay, I told you object is different, object reference is different. Object reference point towards an object. Okay, object reference will always point towards an object. Okay, alright. Now, out here, if I write say system.out.println c1.name and c2.name, c3.name. Okay, right. Now, out here, if I run this code, hold on. If you look at the output after running, you should on this window you should always check this checkbox. Always save resources before launching. Okay, if you run this code, it will print A, B, and C. All right, fine. Now, out here, this clearly prints A and B and C, and it prints those three values. Okay, now out here, if I write C1 equals to C2, now this makes the difference. This means that if in the diagram I look at this, then C1 will no longer point over here and C1 will point towards the place where C2 is pointing. Okay, so C1 and C2 will both point towards the same object. Objects are constant in the memory. Okay, but object references are different. Alright, objects are constant, but object references are different. Okay, right. And if I print this again after this, if I print these three lines again, by putting a demarcating boundary in between, and if I run this, it will print B, B and C. You see that? Okay, fine. Now out here, if I write any of C1 or C2, both can change the state of the object. If I write C1 dot name is, say, if I write C1 dot name is Z. Okay. And if I print both these lines, if I print them again and if I run that, so see that Z, Z and C, it prints. Right, guys, please keep your microphones on mute. Okay, fine. All right. Out here, if you look at the console, this is the printed. Now, out here in the car class, I can also have a function. I can have a function like public void move. All right. I can create functions. Okay. I'll print system.out.println car is moving, and you print the name of the car. Yes. Your car.java is opened. Yes. Yeah. I'm moving C1 to the place where C2 was pointing. So this is the name. It will be changed to Z. Because C1 and C2 are both pointing towards the same object. Look at the bottom. If I write C1 equals to C2, then C1 moves to the place where C2 is pointing. Yeah, because both of them are pointing towards the same object. No, no, it is C1 to C2, not C2 to C1. Okay. Now, in the car class, I can make a function. Okay. This function can print car is moving and the name of the car. Alright. Now, in the diagram out here, every object will have the move function inside it. When you call the move function of say C3, it will print the name of C3. For C2, it will print the name of C2. Okay. Alright. You can access that function by writing c1.name. No, sorry, not c1.name. c1 dot. You'll get the option move. Okay. only c1.move. It's not system.out. I'm sorry. Actually, I was thinking something else. Only you can write c2.move and c3.move. c1.move, c3.move, c2.move. If I run this and if I run it, see that for c1 and c2 it prints car moving z, and for c3 it prints car moving c. So the functions will actually read their corresponding values. Okay, fine. Now out here, anybody with any questions? Anyone? Anybody with any questions? Yes. In the move function, I don't need to define anything in the move function. Move function is the part of the car class. When you create the object of the car class, over here I've created 3 objects. Okay. When you create the objects of the car class, okay, automatically inside the objects, inside every object, the move function will come up. Yes. Okay. Now, out here, out here, um, let me scroll down. Right. Now, out here, this is the function call. With the object reference, you can make the function call as well. And in the car class, you have got 2 variables and a function. All of them will be the part of the object. Technically, this variable is known as a non-static variable. It can be accessed in all the functions. This variable is also known as non-static variable. And this function is known as a non-static function. Now suppose there is a variable known as int wheels. I'm coming over to the point of defining you what static is. Okay. Now if I have a variable wheels, I can have it in every object. I will have to initialize it in every object. I will have to write c1 dot wheels are 4. Okay. c2 dot wheels are 4 and c3 dot wheels are 4. Okay. Right. Now out here, there is no point having this variable for every car when every car is ought to have 4 wheels. We already know that this value will be 4 for every car. So it doesn't make sense to just, okay, it doesn't make sense that you simply create, I'll answer your question, just give me 2 minutes. Okay, it doesn't make sense you create the object of the car class. For every object you are initializing it to 4. So what we do is that because every object will have the same value, we make this static. When you make it static, what happens is that this value moves, wheels they will move out from all the objects, and wheel will come up in a common location in the memory which can be accessed by every object. It doesn't become the part of the object, it moves away from the object. Alright, if you have a static variable, you don't need to initialize it like this. You will see yellow warning signs. Static variables are not the part of the objects. Okay, all you need to do is that you just need to write car dot and you will get wheels equals to 4. The class name dot without object creation. But for non-static stuff like name and price, it is mandatory to create the object of the class. Okay, fine. Yes, static variables and functions can be accessed directly with the name of the class. Okay. No, Sunny, it is not mandatory. So there's a question being asked that this car is separate class and test car is separate class, and I'm accessing the car class from test car. You can do that. It is possible you can do that. Okay, fine. Now, in the car class, I can also have, this is known as a static variable. And all of these variables on the top are global variables. That means they are out of the functions. If I declare a variable inside a function like int x equals to 100, this is known as a local variable. The variable is only available within the function, not outside it. Okay. The non-static variables can only be accessed with the object of the class. Okay. The non-static variables can only be accessed with the objects by creating the objects of the classes. Okay, fine. I can't get your point. Yeah, we are calling the functions inside the car class by creating the object of the car class. Yeah, yeah, by creating the objects, I'm calling the car class variables and functions with the objects. Out here, am I not calling c1.name? So name is inside the car class, right? Move is a function. I'm calling it over here with c1.move and c2.move and c3.move. Yes, we have created objects of these classes. Okay. With objects, you can access them. As I told you in the diagram, when you create the objects, you can access the internal parts of the objects. Okay, of the car class. Every object can have its own value. Okay, I've created 3 objects over here. These 3. And every object I've assigned a different value, and then I can change the object references as well. Okay, fine. Now, out here, uh, out here, just a minute. If I create a new class known as basics of Selenium. Now, in Selenium, you create objects of predefined classes. Okay, in Selenium, you create objects of predefined classes. Alright, for example, I will create object of a class known as Firefox driver. If you go to the documentation, hold on, I'll explain you in a different way. If you go to the documentation of Selenium, seleniumhq.org, okay, go to download section and look at Java docs. Okay, these are all the classes in Selenium on the left side. Okay, right. You have to create the objects of these existing classes to work, but you don't have to remember all of them. It is not possible for anyone to remember all of them. Okay, I also don't remember. Right, if you scroll down, you will see something known as WebDriver written over here, and over here you see these classes are there: Chrome driver, Edge driver, event firing driver. So every browser there is a class. For Firefox also there is a class Firefox driver. Okay, now you need to create the objects of these classes to work with it. Okay, if I write new Firefox driver, okay, and I'll get an error. You move the mouse over the error and import Firefox driver. Make sure you have added all the jar files of Selenium in your project. Okay, only then it will be imported. Okay, right. Now, out here, if I run this code, you will see that a blank Firefox will be launched. Okay, right. In your case, you will get an error. Okay, you will get an error or exception in your case. So why that exception will come up? Look, what you need to do is that in case of Firefox driver on the website seleniumhq.org, hold on. When you go to the download section, you need to download an exe for Firefox driver. If you scroll down, you will have third-party browser drivers not developed by Selenium HQ. Okay. So you need to download this Mozilla Gecko driver. Okay, click on this 0.19.0 and you can download the 32-bit or the 64-bit implementation depending on your operating system. Okay, in my PC, I have kept the exe at this location. When you download it, you'll get this exe, geckodriver.exe, and you need to write over here system dot set property webdriver dot gecko.driver. Okay, and give the path of exe file. In my PC, it is at this location. D drive common drivers and geckodriver.exe. Okay. In Java, you have to give double slash for escape sequence, otherwise it will throw you in. Now, system out here is an internal class in Java, and set property is a function under that class. Okay, fine. System is a class and set property is a static function. That is why you can directly call it with the name of the class. And if you write this line, your error will be resolved. If you run the code, your Firefox will be launched. Okay. Now there are few things which you need to be aware of. Okay. Now what happens in the market is that at times, in case of Selenium, suppose you have the version. I'm just taking an example over here. You are working with Selenium 3.1. Now say Selenium 3.1 will support up to Firefox 45. I'm taking an example. Firefox version 45. And if Firefox 46 comes up, then 3.1 will not support it. In the next release, maybe 3.1.1, they will do some changes and they will make Firefox 46 supported. Firefox guys, they again update the version Firefox 47 and you have to wait till the new version of Selenium comes up. So it is always a good practice that in case of Firefox, you work with a little older version, it will be supported. For example, the latest version I think right now is 57 for Firefox. I am not aware, but I am working with Firefox 55. Okay, and 55 works perfectly fine. So please make sure that you also, okay, this is January 2018. Sorry, right. Right now you work with Firefox 55 and in Firefox, you just go to Tools, Options and under Advanced, under Updates, please check the option Never check for updates, not recommended. And uncheck this checkbox as well. Don't let Firefox update itself. Okay. Also, to download the older version of Firefox, you can go to Google and type Firefox older version. And under it, you will have this website ftp.mozilla.org, this link. Okay, you can download the any version of Firefox from this link. All the versions are present. You can download 55 from here and install it. All right. Another thing which people they get confused. When you write webdriver.gecko.driver, make sure everything is in lowercase. Java is a case sensitive language. Sometimes people keep W capital over here or D capital. It creates an issue. All right. Fine. Now you can create the object reference of Firefox driver as well. ft equals to this. And you can write Firefox driver dot get the URL. Say http yahoo So get function will take the browser to this particular URL. In the URL, it is mandatory to give the uh, protocol. Otherwise, we'll face an issue. Okay, please mention the protocol. Okay, otherwise it will throw an error. In Java, Selenium is made like this. Okay, just use plain 55.0. Okay, just use plain 55. When you run this code, it goes to Yahoo. Okay, right. Now, these things over here, these are not errors. These are logs of the browser. Don't think that these are errors. Similarly, you can work with Chrome as well. Alright. In the documentation of Selenium, if you scroll down, you will have WebDriver, and for Chrome, you have the Chrome driver class. Okay, fine. So out here, work with 32-bit Firefox. Okay, and you can download Windows 64 32-bit Gecko driver as well. Work with 32-bit Firefox and 32-bit Gecko driver. Okay. Now you create the object of Chrome driver. CD equals to new Chrome driver. But before creating the object of Chrome driver, for the Chrome driver also you have to download an exe from the Selenium website. Okay, Chrome driver obviously helps you to work with Chrome. Alright. What are there? I cannot understand you. Use plain Windows 32-bit Sunny. And please mention the question to everybody so that everybody can see the question. Please use main Windows 32. Okay. Now, out here, for Google Chrome driver, you can download the Chrome driver exe from here. And, you know, it doesn't depend on your OS. If you have 64-bit Windows or 32-bit Windows, this link will work. Okay, for Mac and Linux, these are the links. This works for 64-bit or 32-bit Windows. I've downloaded and kept it over here. This is chromedriver.exe. Okay. Now you need to write a line over here, just like Gecko driver. You need to write system.setProperty webdriver.chrome.driver and give the path to Chrome driver exe. So when you run it, you will have a blank Chrome opening up. Okay. You see that a blank Chrome opens up. In Chrome, make sure that you are using latest Chrome version and latest Chrome driver exe. Latest things work always with Chrome. Okay, fine. And you can probably write chrome driver.get. You will go to http yahoo.com and this will take Chrome, launch Chrome and take it to yahoo.com. Okay. Now similarly there is Internet Explorer driver. Okay, for internet, if I write INTER and hit Control spacebar of the keyboard, you will get all the classes starting with the word INTER. Okay, I can write internet. It will keep on filtering. Okay, Internet Explorer driver. This is the one. You can select it. I equals to new Internet Explorer driver. And for this also you have to download an exe. Look, IE is actually outdated now. Microsoft has stopped the support for IE, official support. The latest version is IE 11. After that, it will not go any forward. Selenium is supporting IE 11 through this Internet Explorer driver server. Based on your IE, whether it is 32-bit IE or 64-bit IE, you can download the exe. Okay, I have kept the exe in this folder again, iDriver server.exe. Alright, and you need to write a line system.setProperty WebDriver.i.driver. Okay, and give the path of exe out here. Okay, yeah, Raj, I'm coming over to this, and you can write I.get to http yahoo.com, and when you run this, you will have IE opening up. Okay, fine. But many of you will face issues. For IE, you have to be little careful. First of all, make sure that in IE, your zoom level settings are set to 100%. If it is not 100%, it won't work. Okay, so zoom level settings should be set to 100%. Secondly, in IE, you have to go to Tools, Options, okay, and under Security, there are 4 levels. Okay, make sure that this leveler is at the least position for all the 4 levels. Okay, it should be at the least position. And go to Advanced tab, scroll down, you will have Security. Under Security, please check this, allow active content to run files in my computer. Please check this checkbox in IE. Alright, so you have to do the security settings. Basically, you have to turn off protected mode. Turn off protected mode in IE. Just search on Google how to turn off, you'll get it. You have to bring that leveler to the least position. And the last option was the security settings in advanced section. Allow active content to change the. So you have to do these 3 things in IE. Okay, right. Now, there are different drivers. As I told you in the documentation, we studied Chrome driver, iDriver, Firefox driver, Internet Explorer. Edge driver is also there. Edge is there on Windows 10. okay, which obviously drives Edge browser. Okay, now you can create the object of Edge driver, but there are few, hold on, prerequisites for this as well. There is an exe file obviously. Okay, for Edge driver, scroll down, go to third party drivers not developed by. This is Microsoft Edge driver link. You click over here and you have the downloads. Don't just download any one. Okay, you have to download it for your Edge. Okay, the version of Edge on your machine, you should be aware of that. Alright, so just 1 minute. Just a minute. I don't know where Edge is stored because I don't regularly use it. Yeah, this is my Edge. Okay, make sure that in Edge, under settings, alright, scroll down. You have this Edge version 15.15.063 on my machine. Read this version on your machine, and from the Microsoft website which we are here, okay, see, this is for this Edge supported version for this release. This one I need to download. I don't need to download this one because this is my release version for Edge. For my release version, this is the link. So you can download edgedriver.exe, Microsoft WebDriver.exe from here. And I've downloaded and kept it under the drivers folder again. Okay. And you need to write this line system.setProperty webdriver.edge.driver. Okay. And give the path of exe. Okay. Right. This is the exe path. Oh, sorry. And if you run this code, you will get an error. Because for Edge, there is a requirement that Edge should be closed. Before launching Edge, Edge should be closed. So make sure that Edge is closed and you have the the correct exe file as per the Edge version. Okay. And maybe you can write ed.get to http yahoo.com. So it will take you to Yahoo. Okay. Right. So this is how you work with Edge. There are other drivers as well, but they are not stable. For example, Safari driver is not stable, Opera driver is not stable. Remote WebDriver we will teach you. I'll teach you later on. It is used in Selenium GRID to run the test cases parallelly. Okay. Now one thing guys, you don't need to write these system.setProperty lines again and again. Okay. What you can do is that in your PC, you can set an environment variable. Go to your PC, right click on it, my computer, right click on it, go to properties. Okay. And you will get this advanced system settings. Okay. Go over here and go to environment variables. In Windows 10, you will have a screen like this. In Windows 7 or 8 also you'll have a screen like this. Scroll down, you will have a path variable. Edit this variable. In Windows 10, you will get a screen like this. I will talk about other windows. You'll get a screen like this. Scroll down, create a new variable. Okay. And in this new variable, give the path of the folder where you have kept all the drivers. Okay, give the path of the drivers folder, all the exes where you have kept. Keep all the exes as common location. In Windows 7 or 8, hold on, Windows 7. In Mac also you can do this. Just search on Google how to set the Mac variables. In Windows 7, you will get an image like this. Hold on. Yeah. When you click on edit, go scroll down, click on a path variable, edit it. You'll get a small window like this. In the variable value, go to the end of the value, put a semicolon and give the path of the drivers folder. Okay, you will have this kind of box in Windows 7 or 8. So in the variable value, which is the second parameter, you will already have lot of values. Don't fiddle with them. Go to the end, put a semicolon, and after putting a semicolon, give the path value, the location of the drivers folder. You'll have to restart your PC. Okay, you'll have to restart your PC, and once you restart the PC, all right. In your code after that, you don't have to write these lines, system.set property. See, if I just write, create the object of Firefox driver and Chrome driver, okay, and Edge driver, and if I run the code, all three browsers will open up. I won't get that exception that exe is not found. Okay, so system.set property line can be omitted. See, all the browsers are launching. Okay, right. Now, there's a question being asked that if I don't have Edge, Edge is there only on Windows 10 by default, Archana, Edge is there. It is only on Windows 10. Okay. So that's it for today. Anybody with any questions?